Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Coffee Talk, and we are coming to you live. This is a first for us. We are at the Francis Marion in Charleston, South Carolina. How you doing, Laura?
I'm great. You're sitting next to me, Rhee. Like this never happens in real
No,
life.
we are doing this together, and our guest is also here with us. We've spent the weekend at the Gold Alliance retreat. Did you have a good time, my friend?
I had the best time. It was amazing.
It was amazing. What was amazing about it, Miss Laura?
I'm not sure who knows what the Gold Alliance is. The Gold Alliance, I describe it as a think tank group and it's like an upper level learning group where we share ideas, different speakers come in. It's amazing. I've been a part of it for 5 years now. The best investment I've ever done for my business. And I'm not just saying that because Rhee's sitting next to me. I'm saying that because it truly is. It's helped transform the way I approach my business and how I approach motherhood and now single motherhood. It's just been amazing. And since I've been in it for so long, there's such an amazing group of women and their husbands who are part of this as well. And this weekend in particular, I think it was just great to even just sit at tables. We had amazing speakers as well, but to sit at tables and to hear everyone else's ideas and what works at their studio. We were all saying this weekend that it's hard to find that camaraderie in a lot of different industries. And it's so nice as a business owner to have that in the dance world that sometimes might feel a little lonely. Yeah, because sometimes there's not that camaraderie within your studios around me. I think mine has grown a little bit more, which is nice. And I have people around me that I can reach out to and I can talk to. But this is like not to leave you out, this is like a sisterhood. And it's like has just been amazing and it's transformed me personally.
A sisterhood with a brother.
That's right. No, your dad.
That's it. Dad.
I think
I want to be a brother more than I want to be a papa, but I'll take it. I will definitely take it. Okay, so since you said all that, I'm going to tell everybody because we don't talk about the Gold Alliance. The Gold Alliance is something that every time I do a Friday meeting or a retreat like we did this weekend, I look and I go, this is the ultimate for me. This is the thing that I pictured in my mind, and everything evolved to this point where you work with people like on a one-on-one basis. You know them so well. You know what their goals are. Their journey is maybe different than someone else's journey, and you work with them to get where they want to get to.
Right.
Not only in business and financially, but a balance in life.
Yeah. Because I think to add to that, what I've learned is everyone's balance is different and what everyone wants out of life. Some people want to be at their dance studio 7 days a week. Some people in our group want to be there once a week. Some people want to have department heads. Some people want to run everything. But no one judges anyone in our group. Everyone, it's like a very collaborative environment. And I feel like when I specifically come to these events and have the Gold Alliance, it's an opportunity to just thrive and grow in a smaller environment, which I love.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. And, oh, look, Kelly's with us. Hi, Kelly. All right. You didn't get enough of us over the weekend, huh?
She landed. She's like, I'm going to watch.
Okay. This is Kelly. Kelly has 3 schools at this point on Long Island, member of the Gold Alliance, and really smart. We all learn a lot from her. So we have a special guest today, and she has a thriving studio in Florida. However, I admire her strength as a single mom, as I do yours.
Thank you.
Running a business, managing kids, handling what life brings with still this positive outlook on everything. And I want to talk to both of you about that because I know there's a lot of single moms. My mother was a single mom running a dance studio. And sometimes I feel like people are a lot out there doing it all on their own and don't know others that are in the same circumstance. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today. However, as you know, if you watch Coffee Talk, we could swerve off in many directions.
We're good at that.
We are really good at that. So I am going to run this commercial, and we are going to come back with Jessica Canino.
I don't mind if the world spins faster, the music's louder, the waves are getting stronger. I don't mind if the world spins faster, 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 faster. Just let me take you to a better place. I'm gonna make you kiss the sky tonight. Let me show the way. I'm so excited to see you excited. Take you to a better place. I'm gonna make you kiss the sky tonight. Yeah, if you let me show the way. I'm so excited to see you excited. I'll take you to a better place. And baby, you can love me all the way. I'll tell you not to how to stay. I'm so excited to see you excited. Yeah.
Here we are, guys, live again from the Francis Marion Hotel in Charleston, South Carolina, where we just got done with a Gold Alliance retreat. Both of these ladies next to me are Gold Alliance leaders, but our special guest is Jessica Canino. Say hello, Jessica.
Hello, everybody.
Jessica, tell our audience a little bit about you, your studio.
All right, so as you mentioned, my name is Jessica Canino. I own a dance studio in South Florida. Our town is called Plantation, but it's the greater Fort Lauderdale area. I've owned my studio for 10 years, and we have about a little over 200 students. We run 2 shows a year. I have a competition team, summer camps, regular season. So I'm definitely always there, always keeping busy, learning to balance life and studio. Work-life balance has been a challenge of mine, but it's something that I've learned to navigate through with the help of Gold Alliance. And I'm super grateful for where I'm at right now and the way my business is running and how I'm able to not only work super hard on my business, but also be intentional and take time off when needed.
Tell us a little bit about your son who celebrates his birthday through the entire month of November.
Rhee was talking about a retreat, and I said, it can't be November. That's my son's birthday. My son is 6 years old. He is pretty fun. His birthday is also on Mickey Mouse's birthday, so that's pretty fun.
Oh, that's fitting. You're a Disney family.
We are a big Disney fan.
Did you plan that, Jess?
I wish I did, but I could not have planned that. So he is 6 years old. He is so fun, so incredible. He dances, he skateboards. He's obsessed with Disney. He wants to build rides when he grows up, and now he's into music. So now he's telling me that he not only wants to build rides, but make music for his rides. So we're gonna see where this whole journey takes us. But
is there dancing going on? Did you say that? Is he like dance?
He loves to dance. I think honestly with Xander, more than anything, he loves to entertain. So whether he's telling jokes or, so I'm not gonna say he's the best dancer yet. On Mother's Day, he sat us all down and he's like, everybody sit down in the family, and he pulled up a stool and he said, all right, guys, you want to hear a joke? And I was like, what is this? And I had nothing to do with it. So he just loves to entertain. He's always busting out dance moves. He's, when we go to Disney, he'll show everybody his breakdancing moves in the middle of the parade route. And so it is quite entertaining being his mom, and never a dull moment.
Love it. So I want to hit you both up with some talking about something that we don't get to talk about too much. We do in the Gold Alliance, but maybe not at conferences and things. Both of you are single moms.
Correct.
Talk to us about being a single mom, having the commitment to your business, having both of you have sons.
Yeah.
And balancing that, especially for those who may be watching now or on demand, that may not be having the easiest time balancing it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So something I'll never forget, and I always tell this story. Rhee interviewed me probably 10 years ago, right when my studio opened, and he asked me, "What's your work-life balance?" And I said, "What life? I don't have life. I work." And here's the thing: I think our jobs, our career lends itself to so many different avenues. You know, it's creative, it makes us money, it gives us exercise, it's pushing us. Like there's so many things. So it kind of checks off all the boxes that we need in order to live a happy and fulfilled life. So I was working nonstop, but I was genuinely happy doing it. However, once Xander came along, I still worked, but I just kept him with me. Then once I left my ex-husband and we moved into single mom territory, I became a lot more hyper aware of my time with Xander, because moving into co-parenting and my situation was a little different because we didn't jump right into like a full co-parenting schedule where it was every other weekend. It kind of was a gradual build up to where we're at now. But I kind of got to a point where if I had Xander for a weekend, I didn't want to be at the studio. Yeah. So I think that, not that it forced me, but it just kind of gave me a different outlook on it. Like I don't
you be intentional with your time and your planning.
Yes, that's the word I use all the time. So I especially when I have Xander, I really want to be extremely intentional with my time with him. I want him. Granted, he loves we were talking about this the other day. Xander loves being at the studio. He can be there all day long. He's like the little Walmart greeter. He's saying hi to everybody. He's in the rooms. He's playing. His friends are there. Like he lives a fun life at the dance studio. However, I don't think it's fair to him to be there on a Sunday afternoon when poor guy just wants to go to the beach or the zoo. So I think that kind of, and we started co-parenting when Xander was 2 years old. So he was still little. As he got older and he started wanting to do more things, I'd much rather take a weekend and go to Disney than have him be at the studio all day. So I think that right there was the start of my journey of really stepping back. And especially once he started school. Now, I drop him off at school and I'm able to crank out work. I get all my work done while he's at school. And then after I pick him up from school, I might teach a class or two, but I step into more mom mode at that point. And once I'm done with my classes for the evening, I can take him to skateboarding. I can take him to baseball. I can take him to all these other activities that he has. I say I kind of turn into the mom ballet. It's like, I'm just driving him around all day. And then it's just been, he'll ask me like sometimes I pick him up from school and he'll ask me, Mama, why do we have to go to work? And I'm like, do you like your life? We like to work hard so we can have nice things. So I also think you
can take him to Disney.
So he can go. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, do you like all your Disney trips? And so I also think it's really important for him to see me working hard because it's fostering a work ethic in him that I feel like a lot of kids, it's kind of lost right now. And then on the weekends that I don't have him, I like to book myself up with work. So my new favorite thing to do is we live down in South Florida, so there's beaches everywhere, but there's a Starbucks right on the beach. And on the Sundays that I don't have Xander, I typically, if I don't have anything else going on, I go down to that Starbucks by the beach. I get there in the morning and I pretty much stay there for most of the day. And I crank out as much work as possible, like some good deep work that we're just cranking out, like all of my marketing stuff, anything social media, any scheduling that has to get done, all of my emails for the next 2 months, like as much as I can do, I'm going to get it done on that Sunday because I'm like, I have nothing else to do. I don't have Xander. And instead of worrying about it next weekend when I have him, I'd rather just do it now. So it's kind of
discipline.
Yeah, discipline and thoughtful and intentional. Like to me, I would rather work when I don't have my kid. So, and that way, when I do have him, I can take a step back and go and do things that I want to with it.
Laura, what are your thoughts?
I'm in a different spot than Jess. My divorce was last year, so I'm still, whereas Justin has been divorced for a few years, I feel like she has a different flow. And I also have a son with special needs. So my story is different because Cole needs a lot of care. He has a lot of therapies that he gets weekly. And the fight for that, what I'm realizing, is very hard and very time consuming. And my heart goes out to any parents of children with special needs because that is a full-time job, just getting everything lined up. But in the flip side of that, I am very thankful that I have my dance studio because a lot of things at my studio is automated. I set myself up that when I was going to have children, I didn't want to be teaching the 5 days a week anymore. So I don't. I only teach on Monday nights. That's my scheduled night. I do solos and trios and duos and small groups and tons of private lessons, but those are very flexible for me. So on the weekends when I don't have Cole, I'm like Jess, I plan private lessons then and rehearsals then. That's when I'm staying today, and I'm going to lock myself in the hotel room. I said to Rhee, and bang out my summer program, which actually upload it and then launch it. Yeah, I think it's very much being intentional with your time. But for me, this might sound weird, it's actually easier. In my situation, my ex wasn't as hands-on. So knowing that I have a weekend to be like, Cole is taken care of for these 56 hours, make the best of it, make the most of it. And I also try to make sure when I'm making the best of it, making the most of it, work gets done, but also like I get taken care of in that time with having Cole need so much from me because of having autism and ADHD. So that's kind of where I'm at in life. And it's like a beautiful balance, but this year I've never been more thankful for my dance studio. I can't put that, emphasize that enough. The amount that Libra entitled me to walk away and buy a house, and I still only have to work one night a week. I don't want that didn't have to change.
You about that.
Yeah.
So you both prioritize momhood as well as your businesses.
Yeah.
As you step back and weren't teaching as much, did your clientele say, "What are you doing? How come my daughter isn't taking from you?" etc. Because I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's something dance teachers or studio owners who are single run around with the guilt because they're caught between the business and not wanting anybody to be upset.
Yeah.
And maybe even not spending as much time with their kids because they don't want it to interfere with their business. How did you get the confidence to say, "Oh no, this is who I am, this is what I want to do"?
Because for me personally, that was always my plan. Yeah. I wanted to, I'll just say it, I wanted to make a certain amount of money and be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted both. And that was probably a very I don't know, maybe most people don't think that way, but I said to myself, and I'm sure that many studio owners can relate to this, I gave up so much from my business those first 5 years. I worked 80 hours a week.
More than.
Yeah. And that was the first 5 years, and it was just me.
But we did that for what we have right now.
Right. So I think when I hear people, make certain comments or, "Oh, Laura won't do that solo," or "Laura won't," I just think to myself, there was years when I did 20 solos and I choreographed them all by myself. There was years when every single competition number was mine: tap, jazz, hip hop, lyrical, modern. I choreographed all of them. The first year I was open, I choreographed 45 dances in 1 year. 45 dances. And I look back, I'm like, God, I was so blessed to have 45 classes. And so to me, I look at it from that way. Yeah. But then I also think to myself, I hate to be like, I put in the time. But
you did put in the time. That's exactly what
it is. You have to put in the time in order to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and what you brought up the other day is something that I always say too. I've always said Libra's my first baby, Cole's my second. But Libra's at a point right now where she's 14. Yeah. She should be able to do things by herself. I have Cole who's 4. Yeah, but it's true.
It's so true.
There's certain things that I don't have to hold her hand for anymore, But there's certain things I won't let go. I order all the costumes. I do the inventory. Like your emails. I still do my emails, which I have to do today. Sorry if you're watching and I haven't responded to your emails. I swear to God I'll get to them. I swear to God I will get to them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
She's occupied. Very busy.
We're busy, obviously.
Oh my God.
We're being intentional with our time.
That's literally something I'm handing off this week. It's on my delegation list, the emails. But I think it's just, I have to remind myself, I used to live, breathe, and die for Libra Dance Studio for 10 years. And then it was just like, once I had Cole, and even when I was pregnant with Cole, it was COVID, and I was outside in 98-degree weather running 10 mini shows, about to in a high-risk pregnancy, about to fall over from heat stroke.
I'm like, you don't even think twice about it.
I did
it. You just do it. It's just automatic.
So it's just kind of like when he came and he had some challenges and he needed me. I put a director in charge of the company. I put front desk staff that was really strong. I just started to put the pieces of the puzzle so I can pull myself out of those pieces of the puzzle. And I put other people in there that could handle it.
Yeah.
And it's been fun.
You have thoughts on that? And then remind me, I was going to write it down, but I have no place to write it. I want to ask you guys about being able to trust those people that you turn it over to. But do you have any comments?
I do. So the mom guilt is so real, right? And I will never apologize for choosing my kid first. And we deal with parents and children, right? So everyone there that we're dealing with is a parent, is a mother. So why, I don't understand why, I mean, I haven't had issues with it, but to me, I'm like, well, you should understand that I want to go spend time with my kid. So for example, Xander has baseball on Saturday mornings. I typically teach the Saturday morning ballet classes, and they're just from 9 to 12. It's nothing crazy. But I do have a co-teacher in there with me, and I have a ton of my high school, like my seniors, assisting the classes. So if I need to step out, it is so easy for me to do so. So Xander's father signed him up for winter baseball, which I wasn't expecting because it was like the busiest time of the year, and it's still going on. And it's right in the middle of competition season and all those things. And I haven't taught that 9 a.m. class probably since the new year started, or a couple of weeks prior to that. And I come in right after because the baseball practice or game is 9 to 10, and I'm in by like 10:15, so I'm getting into the second class about 15 minutes behind. It's already started, and nobody bats an eye. But however, all the moms there, they have a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and if they happen to say like, oh, how's it going? Like, hey, where were you? I'm just like, oh, Xander had baseball, and especially because of co-parenting, right? Like, let's say it's a weekend that I didn't have Xander. That's the 1 hour in the weekend that I actually get to go and see him. So you think I'm going to miss that to teach a class? I'm not. It's just not my priority. And as much as I love my studio and my students, and I'm so beyond grateful for them, my son is my first priority, always and forever.
And I think what goes back to the beginning of what you were saying, you have systems in place. You have a co-teacher.
Yes.
You have assistants in that class. You don't have a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I'm not just dipping out.
You have a co-teacher, and you're paying for that co-teacher
for the flexibility to do what I want.
To have the flexibility that you're here this weekend, you were at baseball last weekend. So it's not like you're just like, you're paying extra money coming out of your, I hate to be like coming out of your pocket, but it is to have that convenience.
But you're paying for convenience. Yeah.
Right.
And it's, and you got to put the
and
systems
it's
in place.
worth every penny.
Every penny. I love teaching those classes. I've taught Saturday mornings my entire life, probably since high school. But I don't want to be locked into it. If, like I said, if we want to go to Disney, I have to go to Xander's baseball games on the weekends. I don't have him. I want to at least see him for an hour. And I know it means a lot to him. So I'm going to do everything I can to make him feel special and him I'm going to go out of my way. And it doesn't bother me. And honestly, here's the thing. If it bothers somebody in your studio, they probably shouldn't be there if they don't align with you and your values. So, yeah, I know. That was a good one.
Well, whether that has to do with parenthood or anything else, if somebody in your studio makes you feel uncomfortable or you get a ping in your stomach when that person walks in, they are not right for your culture. And you must accept that and not worry about, well, what happens financially if I lose this student?
Doesn't matter. Somebody better will come.
Yeah, there's two more that believe in who you are and what you are that will come your way. We must have the confidence to think like that in this field.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about this often in the Gold Alliance and the Studio Owner Alliance, the art of delegation. So
thing.
obviously,
I love it. I love delegating.
You guys are good at it.
Thank you.
But I wasn't.
We try our best now.
That's a Gold Alliance
success story.
100%.
We can attest to it.
100%.
Talk to our audience, especially the moms, about being able, or how you get to a point where you're willing to let go and let somebody else handle it and not feel like you're freaking out because you've been doing it for 10 years
Oh,
and you
this
want
is
it
something.
perfect.
No.
This is something that I'm very passionate about because I used to be such a I can do everything martyr. And I've learned to not be a martyr in my business. And now I'm learning not to be a martyr as a mom. So this is something like an ever going process for me. What I've realized is the 80-20 rule. Once that was explained to me, that blew my entire brain.
Mhm.
The 80-20 rule is when I give someone a project, I'm going to be as clear as possible and give as much clarity as I can so they are able to accomplish it the way that I want them to. However, I'm also going to know in the back of my mind that 20% of it is going to be wrong. And I'm not going to lose my mind about it. I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm already going to go into it knowing that half of that, whatever, if it's a newsletter, is not going to be what it needs to be because it's going to be missing competition fees are due, who they need to be made out to, details that I would have put in there from the beginning. But what I realized is when I look at the whole newsletter, I said, wow, that would have taken me 4 hours. And now I just take 15 minutes and review it, add a couple things and push send.
Yep.
So now I'm even taking that into like my mom life.
You have to.
You have to. Like at my other house, I went from like a big single house into a twin, and I love my twin. But I've kept my cleaners.
Absolutely.
Because 3 women come in twice a week, and it takes them 2 hours to clean my house. So that's 6 hours. When do I have 12 hours a month to clean my entire house?
Nor would you want
Wait,
to?
yeah,
No.
that's what I was
But
going to
that's
say.
literally in my brain. I say to myself, how am I going to clean? I have 4 floors. It's not big, but it's 4 floors. Mopping, cleaning, dusting, windowsills. I'm like, I'd rather pay someone to do that and use that 12 hours to be with Cole and work on my business.
Yep.
Like my brain is now like even beyond just the dance studio. Where do I delegate?
Yes.
Like I don't want to drown at the studio. I don't want to drown in real life.
No.
So where do I need, what is my priorities? Where do I want to spend my time at my studio? And I don't want to spend time at my studio, being there on a Friday night. If I do go on a Friday night, I want to do some private lessons. I don't want to be locked in there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This year I'm divorced now and I have Cole every other weekend. And I used to teach every Saturday. And I was going back and forth. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to drop my babies on Saturday. I've taught them for 20 years. And then I finally said, I'm not going to pick someone else's baby over my baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
And he plays soccer every Saturday.
Yeah.
And I can't.
And now is the teacher doing a great job?
She's fantastic. It's a girl that I danced with growing up from my home studio that I went to, another girl from my home studio, and one of my alumni. I have 3 teachers. I have a teacher and a co-teacher in one room, a full teacher in another with a teen, and their retention is great. I thought, oh my God, the parents are going to be like, Laura, she's not here. They don't care. They just want their class at 9:30.
And the new ones coming in don't even know that you
Correct.
are
And
there.
that's the whole thing.
And the babies are the best age group because the next group coming up doesn't even know who you are.
And when I go in there, because I'm still there every other Saturday, I do the camps or the private lessons or my rehearsals for competition. And I walk in and I make such a big deal, like, oh my, Mackenzie, you're getting so big. And sometimes they'll say like, when are you going to be back? And I say, I'll be back, in 2 weeks. They're like, no, forever. And I'm like, oh my God, I love your face. And like, I'm like, well, I'll always be here. I might not be your teacher, but like, I'll always come in and watch you dance. And she's not like, okay.
Yeah.
But like, in their little minds, they're still like processing it. But even in that moment, I'm like, I still want to be with my Cole on the soccer field.
Yeah.
Like,
In what
that
world would you
doesn't-
ever choose another kid
Right.
over your own? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not it.
And I know they're
it's
in
crazy
good hands.
to be expected of us because again, when we're single and we're not married and we don't have kids, it's a little bit easier to totally pour into these children. But shifting into
Being
mom
single mom.
life and
A
single
single
mom
mom
to
life.
boot,
Yeah.
for what? Like I'm never gonna pick somebody else over my kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I feel like too, I always thought I'd have multiple. And now that I'm one in divorce, I literally say to myself too, I'm like, this might be my only rodeo.
Yeah.
So, and it's a wild rodeo with Cole. And sometimes I'm like, oh, you make my eyes twitch. And moms of boys, But I'm very intentional, even on moments where I'm high stress and I'm fighting for him to get whatever services he needs. Like and I'm like depleted. I'm like, but he might be my only.
Yeah.
He might be my only. And I I might not get another chance to go to soccer on a Saturday and watch him score his first goal. Like this might be it. And that to me, that's where.
And you hear so many parents throughout I know both of us have spoken to people like this that, oh, Aaron's hopping in. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron, we miss you.
You know, I hear so many people that weren't so aware of what we both are so aware of, and they regret it so much. And I never want to be there in that position where I'm like, God, I wish I would have spent more time with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and like Stacey says, like everything is a season. Like probably when he's a teenager, it's going to be a little bit different. But right now, like that's what is best for me and my family. And just because my family is just me and my son.
Kelly.
Behave, Kelly.
I missed it.
She said she doesn't think it's her only rodeo.
Okay. And she should know.
She would.
You know, but I'm just, it gets to a point where, like, yeah, you can't expect, and another mother shouldn't expect you to choose their child over your own either.
Yeah,
so.
and I think I also don't. I've also learned to not take it so personally.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh my God, they want me to be there. They love. This is how I've had to like process it in my brain.
Yeah.
They know their dancer, their child loves us.
Yes.
And they want to see their own child happy. So I've also learned to not take it as like, they don't want me to be with Cole. They want me to prioritize.
No, it's not a personal attack.
I think I've just learned to be like, I know they want me to choreograph every single solo. Because I know what their kid, not that my other staff doesn't. My staff is so fantastic. But when you've been with them since they were 3, and you know all the, or find their jazz, right, or find their jazz teacher and they have a jazz solo, they want to have their jazz solo with their jazz teacher, even though all my other staff can teach jazz too. So I understand it from that perspective. So I've learned to not take it so personal now that Cole's 4. I think everyone wants to be with the owner. Why wouldn't you want to be with the owner?
You want to be with the owner?
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
It's exciting. It's an exciting thing. But I like you said, it's not a personal attack. Everybody's looking out for their own happiness and their child's happiness. Mm-hmm. And it's a blessing that so many people love us and want us to be there for them.
Yeah. I truly feel that way. And I think it's exciting. Like I also make a point to, if I can, to work with every single graduating senior, and whether it's with a duo, whether it's with a small group, whether it's a trio, a solo, I when we go into it in the spring, we start talking about things like that. And even my company director will say, I think this family would really appreciate it if they had you. And I was thinking about having them anyway. But she'll make a point to say, I think that this family, because she knows, like you should take them this year. Even if she's had them for 5 years, that graduating duo solo should go to you. And I'm like, and I will take them and prioritize it. I just can't take and prioritize 20. Right. That's not my, and I know that I won't be able to give them the best of me in this season of my life. 20 of your life. 20 of them I can.
Yeah, who knows? In 10 years, it might be totally different. Yeah. So we might as well enjoy it while we're in it. Yeah.
That's a point. Ooh.
Okay.
A point that I wanted to make. In the evolution of this dance life, your priorities could totally change in 2 years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Could change in 10 years.
Yeah.
Xander could be 20 years old and you could be the owner of 3 studios, working your butt off, running your studios, and this is the life that you've chosen for yourself at this time.
Yes. Yeah.
People have to realize that it's not a decision that you have to make forever.
Yes.
It's like you have to look at your life and go, right now, this is what I need.
Yeah.
With that in mind, what I just said, how do you get, as women, business owners, how do you get the confidence to do it your way? And you say, I don't worry about what others think. You get my question? Because there's so many studio owners and teachers who spend a lot of time worrying about what our clientele's gonna say, or what that mom's gonna say, or is she happy with her solo? How do you get the confidence to just go, you know what, I know I did the best that I could, or this is the life I want to lead, so this is the way I'm doing things. How do you get that confidence?
Well, my first initial like knee-jerk reaction to that is like fake it till you make it. In the beginning, I obviously wasn't as confident as I am now, and several things have had to happen in order for me to get to this point. But in regards to being confident when people are not feeling it at your studio or on their way out, or they're not happy with choreography or who's teaching their classes, I wholeheartedly believe whoever's meant to be around me is going to be around me. So if something I am doing is upsetting somebody, then they are no longer in alignment with me and my studio. And I used to do this. I used to let other people tell me how to run my business. And it got to a point where I'm running around consistently trying to please everybody.
You're burning your
But they're never happy anyways. They're never happy anyways. No matter what you do, it's never going to be enough. It might take a while to see it. It might take a while to get there. They're going to get everything they can get out of you because they're winning, and you're consistently pouring into them also instead of pouring into yourself. But that's a whole other topic. And you're consistently, like you said, burning the candle at both ends. And sadly enough, it's never going to be enough for them. They're never going to be happy. And in regards to leaving, if let's say they're so upset they're going to leave, like I think you said this to me, you're like, Jessica, they're going to leave anyways. Like when they leave, like they're going to leave anyways. So why don't you pour into the ones that are so happy to be there, as opposed to trying to fix the ones that are not happy, because they already have one foot out the door. And trying to save them isn't going to do you any good. It's not going to do your studio any good. It's not going to do your mental health any good. It's just going to wear you down. And then you're going to you're going to bring in other people that are similar to them. And then you've bred this like toxic atmosphere, and it's not your culture. And is that what you want? Like, no, this is your business. You do it the way you want to run it, and then move forward with it that way. And if people fall off, that's okay. A dead plant loses its leaves. That's okay. And guess what? It's going to grow back even better. So as things fall away, better things are always coming into place that are in alignment with you, as long as you make room for them.
I think for me, I remember I opened up my studio in a really great area. I was lucky my first year I had like 60 students. I know that's like usually like unheard of. So by the second year I had like 115 or 120. And I remember feeling overwhelmed. I thought I knew what I was doing because I had a really great studio. Yeah, really. I had a really great studio owner from my home studio who took me under her wing and helped me with the business side of it. And I worked for a big entertainment company. I helped him on the business side. So I had a business sense. But I remember for me, it was when I went to the retreat center for the first time, Rhee. I went there, and Rhee made me stand up, and I just like, my name is Laura, and I was like hysterical because I felt like I was running a circus, and all my animals were like running amok, and like I couldn't. You. And yeah, and I remember I got there, and he was like, I knew what I wanted my studio to be. I just didn't know how to make it happen.
Yeah, you don't know the path to take.
And I didn't know how to make it happen with the people. Well, this one does it this way, and that one does it that way, and this one does it this way, and that one. And I'm like, well, then go there. That's what I felt like saying. Like, then go back there or go there.
Do you feel like that happens as a younger studio owner? Yes. Because when I started out, I opened my studio at 24 years old, I think. 25. Yeah. And everybody was older than me. So now I feel like I'm a little bit more evening out because
you
at
still
least
look
with the younger,
25.
Thank you. So now, especially with the younger classes, most of them, my son Xander is in school with them, with these kids. So their moms are like my equals, they're my friends now at this point. And we're all similar age. And now the ones that are even younger than Xander, the 3, 4s, and 5s, like at this point, I find myself like, even when I started, all my teachers were older than me. Everybody was older than me. Parents came, if they came from somewhere else, they wanted to tell, like you said, this one does it this way, this one does, and they wanted to consistently tell me how to run my business, but they were selfishly telling me how to run my business in regards to what was going to be best for their child.
Right, for this one
Not for me,
family in your studio.
Yeah. But I think what empowered me was, and what gave me the confidence, this might sound stupid, but having the systems and processes in place and the rules. Oh yeah. And so when someone would say,
describes that to them.
Well, when someone would say, I booked a trip to Disney World on our second weekend of competition. She won't be there. Oh. And I would pull up our contract that she signed, and I'd say, okay, well then she's off team. I need the $250 per dance to drop her to re-choreograph these dances to hold extra rehearsals. And they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you signed this on September 15th. We've had it. If your daughter's not going to be there, this is not soccer. We don't have subs.
Yeah.
She's an essential part of these dances. Lifts. This is
And
a
commitment to the other.
yes, that's the whole thing. I said she's letting her teammates down.
And now the whole team has to come in.
And now the
rehearse.
whole
Yeah.
team, and I have to pay my staff, and I have to inconvenience these other parents whose kids are showing up. So, but would I have ever have felt okay to say that on year 1 or year 2 or year 3? Absolutely not. Now I'm like, I'm charging the credit card on file.
Yeah.
When is going to be?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. and I just, and then it's like, oh no, we're going to push the trip back. And we can leave the next day. I'm like, okay, thank you for letting me know. That's great. We love, and I would never be like, good, you should have done that. I'm like, I really appreciate you putting the team first. Thank you.
Thanks
I look forward to having her perform with us and see her shine on stage.
Oh my gosh.
But that's how I respond, and I don't take it out on the kid. I don't take it on the parents. It's like everyone has their own lives going on, and sometimes they don't realize.
I'm going to be the older kind of grumpy guy and go, how come the moms don't know that if they make the choice to leave or do a vacation on a weekend that their kid is committed to, how come they don't know that they're teaching their kids that responsibility is not that important?
That's the $1 million question, because
My
I
mom
feel
told
like,
me that.
yeah, my mom taught me that as well. I feel like responsibility and work ethic are so few and far between right now. And as
it's coming,
It-
though.
it is
the
coming
reason
back.
the kids don't, I hope it's
I
coming
think it's
back.
coming back a little bit, but I think it's our job as their coaches, dance teachers, mentors to kind of instill it a little bit more. And like
to hold the line.
yeah,
To
my
hold the line of
teenagers,
expectation.
and seniors, they're extremely self-sufficient. Most of them drive, so a lot of things are scheduled directly through them, right? And they know, like, I'm very flexible with them, because I grew up at a dance studio where it was like you were not allowed to ever miss, and if you missed for something, even like a homecoming or prom, like you were in trouble, you got your spot cut, like it was a big deal. And that fostered a fear, right? So, and that I never want my kids to feel that way. So I am very flexible with them. I want them to have a life. I want them to experience high school and all the fun things in their life. This is their only time to do this as well.
Yeah.
But they do know when we get into a certain window of time, we're not messing around. And because I've gotten them to that point, like, they already know. They know, oh, this I have rehearsal here. I have to make it. This is not negotiable. But then I allow them to, maybe it's 2 months out, and yeah, it's okay. You can miss that one. You can miss that class. And it kind of fosters like a trust. It's like a nice little balance of flexibility that I know they're grateful for.
And I think I appreciate it when you see that you invested in the kids like that, and then they understand. Like, I had one of my seniors, Finley. Hi, Finley. It was her birthday the other day. Happy 18th.
Happy birthday, Finley.
But she came up to me before I left. This was last Monday night, I want to say. And she goes, Miss Laura, I have an opportunity to get a dance scholarship if I perform with the dance team. And then that would allow me to go to the school. And she's telling me all the breakdown. She goes, and I swear, she goes, I'd have to miss one ballet class to go.
Yeah.
And I looked at her, and in my heart, I'm thinking, like, your mind is so, this is my team. I need to take care of them. This is my responsibility. We're approaching comp season. And in my mind, that made my heart like so proud and smile. And all the other girls are like standing around, like looking like, what's Miss Laura gonna say?
Yeah,
like,
they're all scared.
Yeah,
Right?
and I'm like, I looked at her. I said, I appreciate you knowing that you need to put this team first. I was like, but this is college, and this is you getting a scholarship for a dance scholarship for school. Like, go girl, go do your thing and do it right. Let me know if I can.
I think it's important for them to know that we're on their team.
Yeah, but I think just the mentality of, this is my commitment. I'm going to have to miss this in order to make this happen. Is this okay? And just the fact that she came to me and said, is it okay? And of course I would say yes. Well, no, you can't go try to get a scholarship for college. Like, of course I'm going to say yes. But just that she had the respect. And I thought to myself, your parents are doing something right. we're doing something right at the studio, and that kid is doing everything right. in
I
my
always say
eyes.
we're partnering with the parents in order
Yeah.
to build these amazing human beings that are going to go out into the world and do awesome things.
Yeah.
So it's also being understanding and flexible with them because they're living their life too. And it's not fair. It's not fair for us to expect that we have work-life balance, but not allow them the
Yeah.
same opportunity.
And I think it's also being clear with the commitment too.
Yes.
Like I don't say, oh, we're going to have a competition next weekend. I don't do that. They know in September when their competitions are. They can plan around, right?
it, yeah.
I think it's
good.
us being
having our
We have to have our stuff together.
Yes. Yeah. How can I say you have to have your whole spring free? No, in September, you know that there's a weekend in February, one in March, one in April, one in May that you have to block off. That's the commitment for this team. I don't know the schedule until 10 days out. Block it.
Yes.
Have it on lockdown. And then I make sure, and this is how I give at my studio, I say, give me your prom dates. And if a parent says, we booked a family reunion in Italy, give me the date. I'll do the best I can to work around it.
Yeah.
Do I do that for everyone, for everything? No. But when someone's coming to me 9 months in advance being like, hey, this is what's going on in my family.
Yeah.
I try my best to accommodate because they are your clientele. And you do want to make sure that you understand that we're trying to be compassionate to them as they're being compassionate to us as we're going into different seasons, you know?
Yeah.
Jessica
says that a different Jessica
I
says
feel we need-
no.
all of us at the same time.
You're lucky we didn't bump heads. That would have been real funny. Bump.
Rhee, you take it over.
I can't see it.
It
It's
says,
too far
I
up.
can see it. It says, finding those good parent avatars is so worth it because those kids are the best and just fill up your cup and heart.
Yeah, agreed.
So that point makes so much sense. You as a studio owner must realize that not everybody is right for your school.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's okay.
having a decision on what your culture needs to be and not letting anyone interfere to take or dwindle that culture away. And know this, you guys kind of touched on it, but I thought about it while you were touching on it. That mom that you put up with that is really not positive about the studio, etc. She's influencing the other mom.
Oh, she sure is.
So if you're somebody who either doesn't want to deal with confrontation or you're worried about the financial repercussions of asking her to leave, or even what she's going to say to other people, because I know people who worry about that and keep a student.
Mm-hmm.
What is she currently saying in your lobby that's
Yes.
making people question
Yeah.
your ability
Yeah.
or your business?
It's like a poison. It's so toxic. I've been saying this past year, I finally feel I had a situation I think it's been about 4 years now in my studio, and the teacher left, and then a whole bunch of like toxic families and students trickled out, but it was such a slow drip. And I keep saying, I finally feel, believe it or not, 4 years that the last bit of poison, and it was a small little bit, has finally exited out of my studio.
And do you feel it?
Oh my God, I feel it.
Feel it.
And every year it was better. Every year it was better. And I kept saying like, oh my God, this is the year I feel so good. We're going into it so good. And then it would kind of resurface. And it was the same little group, or it was people, hear this, that weren't with that original teacher, but they were now in groups with kids that had been with that group. And they were now kind of passing through the same vibe. And eventually, once you get really clear on your boundaries, a lot of people start falling off. A lot of people start falling off because they can't handle the authenticity. They can't handle like you being genuine and living your best life in accordance to who you are and what you want. And first of all, that's no good to have around you. However, once all that falls away, but it took 4 years for all of that poison to seep out. And now half of the kids in my studio don't even know. It's so amazing. They don't even know about that situation. They don't know anything that happened. If that name ever even comes up, people are like, what? Who's that? They don't know. They don't even know. I have a bunch of amazing, incredible new teachers in there, and they don't even know. Like, nobody even knows the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And And
Isn't
oh,
that the
it's
best
so
feeling,
nice.
that when that
It's
wave,
so nice. And I said to my mom's at the studio all the time too. And I said, wow, I finally feel like the last bit of poison has finally seeped out of my studio. And it feels really good.
Now, when you were dealing with that from year to year to year, did you have to have conversations with anybody to nip
No,
stuff
because
in
it
the
was
bud 'cause
very,
bad?
sometimes, but it wasn't bad to my face,
Mm.
which I don't know. I feel like it's kind of worse because you don't even realize it's going on.
Yeah.
Certain individuals or families and students, you could kind of feel it shifting, but a lot of it was surprises for me. And and things, people I didn't realize were poison. And then as they shifted out, and one of my big things right now is if somebody's not adding value to your life and they're subtracting from your life, whether it's negative energy, confusion, bad vibes, or
And that's
stress.
not just business.
No, it's not just business. No, we're going into
That's
that
everything.
topic.
Everything.
You know,
I'm in exactly the same place. Took
I
me a
don't want
long
them in my
time to
life.
get
I've
there.
worked so hard to get myself to where I am and to be so genuinely happy. And I'm in such a great place right now with my life, studio, everything, that if somebody's coming in to mess that up, please take several steps back, because I've worked way too hard to get here and I'm never going back to that spot. So,
Okay,
yeah.
you two brilliant moms, business owners. As we wind this down, share with our audience, from a studio owner perspective, what do you think in 2024 is one of the most important things that you've learned to keep your business successful? You both are maxed out as far as students go. Am I correct?
Oh no, I can have more.
You can have.
I'm growing and glowing this year. We are moving forward. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
share with us.
Yeah. I finally feel, we talked about this. I finally feel like everything, I was in survival mode for so long that, and I've been divorced for 4 years. Oddly enough, the divorce and the situation with the teacher happened within like 2 months of each other. So it was a whirlwind of figuring everything out and figuring it out quickly, learning how to navigate all this change. And it was stressful, but I knew it was pulling me forward into the correct path that I was supposed to be on. And I feel like I'm finally in a spot now where things are settled. They're consistent with where I'm at co-parenting wise with Xander. I'm not surviving. I'm not fighting for things so much anymore. As I just talked about, my studio, the last bit of poison is out. I was finally able to craft it, kind of bring it back to life. Not that it was dead or anything, but bring it back to life in regards to what I feel like fits with where I'm at in my life. And I feel like I'm at a point now where now I can really, like, it's at, like, you know, you have to hit rock bottom in order to like launch up. But so I feel like I did that. I did the work, and I put the last couple of years I've been working so hard on my business and the systems, the processes, everything. And I finally
And still working on systems.
Still doing. I'm going. But I finally feel like I'm at a point now where I'm able to. I've had all these ideas and I've wanted to grow, and but I don't think I was ready to yet, not knowingly. But I think now I'm really ready for the unlimited growth that's on its way. So I feel like I've put things in place, like, you know, we talk about finances and organizing them and all these things, and they're things that I wasn't doing before. And prior to, we said, like, a big realization for me was prior to Gold Alliance, I was always working on my business. So my extent of running the business was collecting tuition and teaching classes. But you're not going to grow. You're not going to get better that way. So learning new things, putting yourself in environments where you are growing and where you are getting better and you are adding programs and fixing things and working on marketing and working on your finances and all these things that they compound, right? They stack up. You're 1% better every day. You just keep moving forward. And I finally feel like all of that is really starting to just gel together right now. And I'm at a point, like we said, stepping back, not being in the studio as much, like I'm getting there where I can really, my studio's 10, right? We said this, you know, my studio's 10 years old. What do I expect a 10-year-old to do? So maybe in 15 years, so coming up the next 5 years, like what do I expect a 15-year-old to do? all these things. So I'm really excited for where I'm headed. And I feel like that was the biggest lesson. And now I can kind of, I'm not gonna say I can kind of coast, because I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I'm still like taking those steps forward, but it's not gonna be as stressful anymore. And because it is in alignment with where I'm at in life. Yeah.
How about you, Laura?
My biggest lesson in 2024, what do I carry?
I can do hard things.
I can do hard things. That I am way stronger than what I thought I was.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, that was like 2024 was a very big, like full stop in my personal life. And I said to my teachers that I was so thankful for them. They swooped in a lot and just really stepped up. My company director in particular, my front desk people, all my teachers too, but they were just very, I don't know, they were very pivotal in helping me get through last year more than I think they'll ever really realize it when I communicated to them. So I feel like in that aspect, it was amazing that I was able to just keep pushing forward. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I think what I'll carry over to 2025 is like, I can do hard things. I'm really strong. And I've just realized like this year, like this coming into like the summer and the fall, I just want to explode.
Yes.
I feel like I was kind of dimming a little bit, and being Cole's mom, and the studio was very established and the numbers were great, and my numbers are still great, but I just feel like a big shift coming.
Yeah.
A shift already came in a whirlwind. A tornado came for me personally. So now I just feel it brewing, but in a positive way for the dance studio.
It is.
I'm
on the same spot.
Yeah,
I feel it
I just
brewing. That's the best word for it.
I have like amazing, super, super talented kids up and coming. And like, I'm talking to the company director. I'm like, let's just go for it. Let's offer them everything.
Yeah.
Leaps, runs, and jumps, and solos, and duos, and trios, and add more options for the babies. Let's do full day camps in the summer, and not just, I feel like I've just been, I just kind of, this has always worked. So that's what we're going to do. And now I'm like, we can do more.
But there's, you don't grow in your comfort
And it's
zone.
not, sometimes it's not more, it's doing it better.
Doing it better. That's more efficient. And that's where we both are. But we put the work in.
Yes.
Right? We've spent the last 4 or 5 years putting the work in to get there.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be so exciting to see where we all go from here.
Yeah. I said to my mom, like, I'm ready to fly now. I built my nest. Now I'm ready to fly.
I love it.
There's something before we close out here that you said, or maybe you said it, where you did. The person who left you, was it the same? The person who gave you all that trouble in the studio, was it the same time as you were getting a divorce?
Was,
so it piled on.
It was 2020 was a purge in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing about negative times, hard times, is they usually pile on.
Yeah. Good things come in threes, so do bad things.
So I always look at it as, okay, I'm willing to take what piles on right now, because I know in 6 months from now,
it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
You said that in Gold Alliance too. You were like, life is like this.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, or it's a quote or a saying, and it really helped me get through that. And I can briefly talk about that because I know we're running out of time. But so the situation with the teacher happened end of August, 2 weeks before my season started.
Great timing.
Great timing. So that rocked my world. I sat in the corner crying. I didn't know what to do. I thought, that is it. My studio is done. I mean, I was throwing the towel in, and that's not my personality at all. But I buckled up. I figured it out. I had to hire like 5 teachers in an hour. Basically, I had to figure it out. I had to redo the whole schedule. It was, oh my gosh. And then I assumed everybody's leaving me. This is the end of the world. That wrecked me more than finding out about my husband hanging out with other people, for lack of a better word. I don't know. So I was so devastated. But once I made it through that little season, and it turned out better than I could have imagined. The teachers that I was able to bring in, everything. So in hindsight, and I say this all the time, once the divorce started, I found out something in a month, and then a month later I left. And moving that month was so hard for me because I knew what decision I was about to make, and I knew the gravity of that decision. But the situation at the studio taught me that just because something looks like it's falling apart, like I got through that and I thought it was going to kill me. I got through it and it came out better. So I was like, you know what, Jessica, you're going to get through this and it's going to be better. And one of my favorite things, and I shared this with my students, it's funny, we have arrows all over everything at the studio. And a lot of people don't even know why we have them there anymore. I have them in my studio rooms. But an arrow can only be shot forward as much as it's pulled back. So when you're being pulled back, you're about to be launched into something even better. So as far back as you're being pulled, that is how far forward you're going to launch. So I tend to embrace that chaos now when things are falling apart. Like you said, like I just know things are, I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be good. Like, how good is this going to be? Because man, stuff's going real sideways right now, but I know I'm about to jump right off. So it's a little perspective shift, but I was grateful for all the craziness that happened at the studio because it really set me up for the right mindset for what was happening in my personal life a couple months later.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is sometimes that tough stuff is really propelling you into the place you need to be.
It sure is. Yeah.
Or it's kicking you in the butt and saying you need to change and this is the trigger for that change. Don't run around saying poor me. Say, what do I do? What do I do next? I need to bring myself back up. And the answers come.
Yeah. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep moving forward. Eventually you get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
It was. Especially in person. It's so
In
fun.
person.
I feel like we should just take turns. I'll fly to you. You'll fly to me. This will
Oh,
be our new
okay.
thing.
Every
That's
2
a great
weeks.
idea.
Go live from the studio. I'll get
Do like a studio tour. Just come visit all of us.
NBC. We'll fly to NBC studios.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Be great.
All
Love this
right.
for you guys.
With the next coffee talk, we'll be coming to you from NBC studios in New York City.
Ooh, wow.
And looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Seriously, those strong women inspiring their students to be strong women and men as well.
Yes.
But I look at you just like I looked at my mother, who was a dance teacher, and I always say, yes, you teach them dance. Some may become professional dancers, but dance studio owners show girls what they can be.
Absolutely.
Business owners, leaders, mentors.
Yep.
How cool is that? I think we're in the greatest profession of them all,
We are, yeah.
and with the greatest people. Let's do a little hug.
Yay!
This is our first live hug. Okay, guys. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you for being here. Bye now.